I don't know.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, Beverly Hills 90210 fans, stop what you're doing right now because it's time to dive deep into 90 News. All the latest news and rumors coming out of your favorite zip code with your hosts, Pete Ferrero and Melanie Rose. Oh my God, I can't believe what I just heard.
All right, well, here we are, and we are back again on 90 News. Lots going on in the world of news. I wanted to just right off the top shout out Christelle, who sent me this gift, this Taylor Swift beanie. I thought that was very sweet of her, and I wanted to right off the bat get there. Hey, Melanie, how's everything going down in San Diego with you? All good?
Life is good. Got this cute new puppy, as I mentioned last week, who's on my leg right now. You can see her. Yeah, it's been a good week. Looking forward to the weekend. Beautiful weather, and glad to be here with you reporting the news.
There's a lot going on. All right, let's bring on our buddy Charles Rosen so that we can recap everything. Now, you're the roving reporter this week because you are in Emily Valentine country. You're in San Francisco, aren't you?
Yeah, I brought some flowers in my hair, and I helped my daughter's starting grad school up here. She's doing her second semester up here. The first one was all Zoom. So we moved her in to find out that classes, because of the Omicron or whatever that is, it's not going to be starting to mid-February. So,
wow.
But we got a really nice apartment in a nice part of town. And
nice. Did you have dim sum? Right? Isn't that a big thing?
I had some dim sum. And, this is also the Bay Area is where I went to school in Berkeley. So I have, I like when I get up to Northern California, much too infrequently.
I know what you mean. It's hard to go anywhere these days, as you mentioned, with this Omicron and coming back around. I want to let everyone know we had a big event that we were going to talk about doing with an in-person thing, and I mean, I don't know when that's ever going to happen again. I don't know when we're
fucking COVID, right?
It will.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something before we started out about that beanie with the Taylor Swift. Is Taylor Swift your new Kathleen Robertson or something?
Oh, no. There will never be another Kathleen Robertson, but I do really like her music, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, it was very nice of Christelle to send me a gift like that, Charles. Wasn't that? Yeah. I mean,
you did put it out there that you wanted it on Facebook, so
I know I didn't say that. I said I wish that I had gotten this, and then Christelle got it for me. She was like Santa Claus child.
Very sweet of her.
I want to ask you, man, this past week we had a fun episode. I love the way we're cutting the episodes together now. People are commenting that it's really great. Me and you sat together. We recorded the episode, and then we did separate interviews with people and then kind of put it all together. And it came out really nice, man. I want to ask you, though, in that process, we talked to Anne Gillespie about Jackie Taylor. We had a really good in-depth conversation with her. What did you think about looking back at Midlife Now What?
Well, I thought one of the things I thought was that, again, it was based in the format of an unreliable narrator. I mean, here you find out all this terrible stuff about that's going on through gossip, a very Beverly Hills thing, a very spa kind of thing, with the girls all with the mother-daughter spa trip, and this is when Jackie finds out that Mel is, even though they have been married less than a year, is already or a year maybe, have been philandering and out there with fooling around, and instead of using that to go as an excuse to go on the deep end and start getting back into cocaine, she finds inner strength. So I thought that was we pointed that this was going to happen, and it didn't. And as I think I pointed out, that the 90210 that followed us would have definitely had her get back into cocaine. And then she said, oh, well, of course they had me get back into cocaine. So, right. And I said, boy, that shows a lot of imagination.
We did talk about some of the new 90210 stuff, which was fascinating to hear some of what you knew and what she knew. And she didn't really want to come back to that secondary version that they did. That was an interesting conversation. Chuck, we also played the interview with your buddy, Billy Vera, and fans were, we had recorded that a long time ago for Patreon, but fans were excited to know that he wrote all those theme songs and was a pitch man. He's just done so much other than playing Duke. Wasn't that interesting?
What's interesting is that he dated Ronnie Spector.
Oh my God.
The late Ronnie Spector.
Wow.
And he posted that on Facebook that they were, an item. And I said to him something along the lines of, I am so fucking jealous. How did that happen? Why you? She was one, even if I was a 12, 13-year-old, I knew there was something in her voice that wasn't everyday conversation. There was some verb. I had no idea, here was someone and she was a real, breakthrough artist because she was, Puerto Rican in a time when that was not open, but it didn't matter. Right. Of course, she just was a great singer. And Billy was really connected into the music world of the late 50s, early 60s. Parlayed that all the way through the 80s. He really is a music man. And he did lots of different acting roles, and really happy we got him for this one because
he's great, man.
I saw one of the comments that, he was just really perfect as the bookie.
Yeah, he really, really was. And then we also had Paula Tricky. I don't know if you didn't get to see that because you were flying. She was really interesting and had a lot of interesting things to say. So let's bring on our buddy, the other roving reporter who is at his home base, Larry. Larry Don Mullen.
Hey, Chuck in San Francisco.
Yeah. San Francisco.
Having some crab.
I had some crab 2 nights ago.
Dungeness crab.
Yum. Mm.
That's the thing. That's a good delicacy there.
I want to ask you, Larry. We were just talking about.
I was listening.
We were just talking about Ron Spector. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to pull that for you. What do you have a comment about her passing?
Yeah, look. As a young man, because again, I graduated high school in 1964, so 62 to 64 in New York. On every holiday, there was rock and roll shows at the Brooklyn Fox. It was run by the DJ Murray the K, and there'd be literally 20 acts. And the Ronettes were the house act, and they opened the show always. And we would take the 6 o'clock train from the suburbs because the show started at 8 o'clock. There'd be 10 shows a day. It was so great. And you could stay for a couple if you hid. And we would get in the front row, basically, because we were enamored of the Ronettes. And you basically could literally see up their dress. I'm so embarrassed about this now, but you could see they were so sexy. Where all the other black women acts kind of wore more like prom dresses when you think about them now, Chuck, like Shirelles and stuff, where these girls went the other way. They wore the tightest dresses you could find. And they made the mascara up. They were the first bad girls of rock and roll. And I, as a young teen, 16 to 18, they were my fantasies. And so I got to see, there's Ronnie. Yes, we look very, very cozy together. But she actually was a big fan of my musical, which was directed by a friend of hers. She came to the show, and Randall told me last night, Randall Myler says, she would talk about it a lot because she really liked it, the whole Bob Dylan story with Paul Clayton, who was a gay man who was in love with him.
That's Larry. You should have had, Larry wrote really some good plays, and his Bob Dylan musical was so fascinating that I wanted to even invest in it in this. And I think we would have had a hit if you would have had her play Paul Clayton.
Well, because Randall had done the Ronnie show in England and also off Broadway, which is a story of her life. Which obviously she had an abusive husband named Phil Spector, but she wasn't married that long. But he basically created his whole sound around it, and also did one of Chuck's favorite Christmas albums with the Ronettes Christmas album, which I just found out my friend Bob Glau played bass on.
Winter Wonderland is the cut. Go Winter Wonderland, the Ronettes. It's my favorite Christmas song of all time.
Now, is that specifically the Ronettes album? Because there's also another album with Bobby Sox and the Blue Jeans, the Ronettes, and one other.
No, it's the one she recorded it for the whole the mix of all the different bands.
It's just the early rock and roll. She just was so seminal and sweet and interesting, and like I said.
And by the way,
may her spirits soar.
And by the way, what Larry is saying, who else feels the same way? Although I don't think he went to the same rock and roll shows. Martin Scorsese, who used "Be My Baby" right to start out Mean Streets, and he used it every time he could.
I love that. I love that scene in Mean Streets that he uses. Yeah. Hey, one other thing I want to talk about is for Larry and I, we have got a great guest coming in a couple of weeks. Michael Stoyanov, who was on Blossom, but was fans of 90210 will know him from the season 7 episode 8 storyline with Kelly. He played Jimmy, and he has agreed to come on the podcast in a couple of weeks to talk about that storyline. Right? That's pretty exciting stuff.
I'm excited, Chuck. We actually used for the extras people who had HIV.
Wow.
So there's HIV actors in this, and they look at too. I mean, people in that hospice, it's pretty scary. So yeah, it'll be interesting to talk to Michael about that. Yeah.
Do you remember if Mr. Spelling gave a donation to the hospice?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, we talked about that, because Mr. Spelling produced and the band played on, which was a much decorated movie of the week, or I guess a special almost. It was a long.
No, it was HBO. It was an
HBO movie, and it was seminal.
He had it in pre-production when we were pitching Isn't It Romantic? And he was, remember I told you, the only reason it got made was because of Aaron Spelling. Aaron Spelling in that meeting with the Fox executive said, well, I particularly like this subject, and it's one we must share with our audience. And I thought it was always because of his passion for the issue, which of course it was. But also, he had a show coming out on the same topic.
It was cross-pollination.
That was the beauty of Aaron Spelling. He made it work.
Multitasking.
You have to sell.
Always.
Melanie, did you have something you wanted to add before you jumped in and I cut you off? Was there something?
I was just going to tag on to the Ronettes thing with Larry had pointed out there was another loss in the music world this week related to the show. Zach Throne's father-in-law passed away, who was the founder of Woodstock, right, Larry?
Michael Lang.
Yep.
Not to be confused with the Michael Lang that directed 90210. They're two totally different Michael Langs.
Michael Langs.
Yeah, anyone freaking out. The other Michael Lang is totally fine.
Michael Lang was a 60s icon because it was his concept to create it. And when you see the movie, he's there. He kind of looks all curly haired and stuff and young and hippie-ish. And he wound up living in. Exactly. It's a famous shot of him. And of course, he wound up living in Woodstock, and so that was part of it.
All right, guys, let's talk about next week's show. It's our 100th episode. This is really great. We tossed around a whole bunch of ideas. Going to be honest with you, we were going to cover Steve Sanders. Ian, what happened? I don't know where you are. So
come back, little Sheba. Come back.
Please come back. Fans. He's very cool with all of you. Can you please tell him we need to cover Steve Sanders? Just hit him up, and that's how we're going to make that happen. But in regards to what we are covering, what we're covering is actually even better yet because it's more suited for 100 episodes. We are going to be looking at 100 greatest moments of the podcast, which is shocking to me. But there's a lot of fun ones in there, and there's some really good conversations. There's some good debates. There's a lot of interesting things that have come up in the course of these 2 years that we've been doing this. April will be 2 years that we've been doing this podcast, which is a good place to end. But
logical ending point.
I'm just kidding. No one's going anywhere. But here's the deal. So we want you guys to participate in this as well. We want to know what are your 100 things. What do you want to know? What you guys thought were
even your one favorite thing.
One thing from each fan would be fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're celebrating the podcast. Just all of the things we've done, all the people we've had on, all the kind of goofy moments and interesting moments and wonderful moments. And we're going to make our lists up, and we'll try to get to a bunch, but we need help on it. And then we should also have some people drop in live. So
we want some of the fans
coming in live to talk about the podcast.
Maybe the Patreon.
Yeah, we're celebrating.
All of our fans of the podcast, the Patreons, and maybe some special guests too. I just threw that out there. I have no idea, but maybe we'll get.
I think we should figure out what guest has been on the show the most.
Matthew Lawrence,
or we should ask
probably Matthew Lawrence.
Yeah, that's like the
He'll join us.
It's like the Saturday Night Live 5-timers thing where they celebrate how many times they posted.
That's right. We got yes. I like that. We should give them special things.
Yes, give an award, a best of most appearances.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We're really excited. So listen, you guys by this point know how to DM all of us personally, or message the show, or email me. All of all that information. Let us know what some of your stuff is. Todd, get ready. You'll be working on that with getting some clips together. So
thank you, Todd.
It's very exciting. I think this is going to be good. Do you, just off the bat, I know we're going to save it for Wednesday, but for Larry and Charles, are there moments that you're already thinking about?
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, a lot of, certainly the Jamie Walters playing Hold On at the Super Show. The Super Show was off the
Number
charts.
one.
Okay. And then, we had some wonderful moments in America's Zip Code, just finding out why people watched the show. They were just, amazingly insightful. And same thing with Planet 90210. And then just the other goofy stuff that people said and felt and, revelations, basically.
I want to say also, obviously for me, this show connected me. I'll save it for the show. But meeting Kathleen, or how about some of the reunions that we pulled off?
Oh yeah, that'll be
yes.
Good to see.
The fucking reunions, guys. I mean,
fucking reunions.
We put things together that nobody would ever even think about putting these two characters together. You know what I mean? So it's very fascinating. Chuck, you've been quiet. Do you have at least one that you're thinking of in your head of a good?
Well, now that you ask, I included it. We'll start with that
greatest hits.
And,
for me,
I think that's good. That was a secret word. If anyone remembers,
I'll say it now and probably say it again. Is that it allowed me to be silly?
Yeah,
same here.
90210 making it was was tense. I mean, I think that there was tense because there was so much riding on every moment that really the only time I could relax is when I saw my title come across the screen, and then the phone would ring and it'd be my parents on the phone. Aww. That was so to be able to screw around here, to have the time to do it, to make a lot of jokes, and was really, really perfect for what I needed to get through this pandemic, and even come to understand the impact that this TV show had on our fans, which I kind of did, but really didn't.
It's a very interesting. We'll talk more about all of that, but some of the kind words that I get just personally about the show and what it's done for so many people, just touching upon what you said, Charles. This time in the last 2 years has been very scary for a lot of people. People lost people. People didn't. It's getting even scarier. I mean, people didn't know what was going to happen, but this show, in some ways, what we did here over the last couple of years is just, we've given them a place to go, a community to build, new friends, and that's honestly been the greatest moment, the greatest thing about the podcast. But getting to know you two and this thing and how funny everybody is together, it's really become fun. So it's going to be fun.
The community thing, what we've done and putting people together, and I kind of feel like we have friends all over the world. Can't wait to travel again.
We do.
Somebody just invited me to Copenhagen. She said she'll take me around.
I think I know what that is.
So I'm ready. I can't wait to go.
I need an Italy invite. Just throwing it out there.
All right, so this is great, guys. It's good to see you both. We have a very fun week coming up. We've got Michael Stoyanov coming up, and I don't know. Maybe we'll watch something on Patreon for everybody this week too. We'll talk. We'll be in negotiations on that.
Really quick, what are you guys watching on TV right now? Anything jumping out at you? What's going on?
I've been watching going through all these Netflix Harlan Coben books that they've done in different countries in Europe. They're really well done. Very good potboilers.
Love it.
I've been watching those.
The Great.
Chuck's watching Catherine the Great.
Okay.
Nominated for SAG Awards and all sorts of awards. It's the best show. As what did they used to say on the Daily Beast? And whether it's the best show nobody's talking about. Very good.
Did you guys watch Don't Look Up?
Yeah.
I have not seen that yet.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It just felt like a piece of fluff. I didn't. I enjoyed it fine.
Overly satirical,
I only
but
fell asleep for
it.
About 15 minutes in the middle. It was fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Pete, you should watch it. It's funny.
I know. I think it's right. I usually love him.
My favorite movie of the year is a television oriented movie. It really is. I sometimes really love what Aaron Sorkin does, and sometimes I don't. But I really did love I know about
I loved it too. I could have been that world for a couple more hours.
What is it? What is it? The what? I'm sorry.
Did you see it? Did you see it, Larry?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
We can't hear what you guys. What is the title?
It's called Being the Ricardos.
Being the Ricardos.
I've not seen. I've not.
Aaron Sorkin's
I
would vote for that.
to go on, which is really
the Lucy and Desi thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw Michelle
it
Lojek
wasn't
post
overwritten
about
by
that.
Aaron either. I didn't think it was. The dialogue really was fitting. I thought it didn't seem.
I just got to say,
dialogue.
I love Nicole Kidman too. I mean, like I've seen a lot of what she's done over the last couple of years, and her stuff is just like I
That
don't
new
even
Hulu show.
I didn't even know I was a fan until this last year.
Yeah,
But
she's
she's
good.
really
She's really
incredible.
good.
Yeah, she was great.
Well,
in
that
Big
guy
Little Lies.
J.K. Simmons is going to win the Oscar for playing William Frawley, the second banana. On the show.
I hope he gets nominated.
Oh,
He'll
he'll win. Yeah, he'll win that.
All right, Melanie, do we have a lot of other news things to get to? Can we just keep talking?
We do. We can let you guys go and get
Okay.
on with your weekend, and Charles enjoy
I
San
just got my
Francisco.
first book came out. That's a mock copy of it. I'm going to give the go ahead to for the publisher to go ahead with it, and it'll be available soon.
Hey, Larry,
Road to Shambhala?
That's it, baby. It's all this.
I got a new song to sing.
Love it.
For that
The
one.
road to people there. What's it go, Chuck?
Little Three
on the
Dog
road
Night,
to
huh?
people road to Shambhala.
Having
Hey,
trouble
Larry,
with the beat.
before you leave, I saw that you were on another podcast talking about things. You want to plug that?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting guy, Chris Wiggins, who's a fan of our podcast. Approached me. He's got one called The Weekly Shift. He's a San Diego guy, Melanie. Though I think he lives in LA now.
Okay.
And it's it's much more of a broad spectrum of show. It's kind of culture and politics and stuff. And I don't know, he somehow thought I'd be interesting, and it was fun to be with him. And he also went to Georgetown like I did, and interesting.
So check that. Everybody look for that, right?
Yeah, the weekly shift, though. The weekly
Shift.
Chris Wiggins.
Yeah, Larry's been plugging it, so it's you can find if you follow Larry, you'll be able to listen to it. And find it. Yeah. All right, guys, this has been great.
That's it. All the news. That's fit and lit.
Boom. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you.
week.
Travel safe, Chuck.
All right.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Okay. Where are we
We've got
going?
some news. You know what? Since we've been talking Michael Stoyanov, why don't we start there?
So first, I want to discuss my interview with Lindsay Price.
Okay. Let's do that then, Pete. Let's do that.
While we're plugging away at everybody's plugging, I want to say I really enjoy talking to Lindsay Price. I talked to her a bunch. Just generally speaking, I talked to Lindsay Price, just what's going on, what's up. And I asked her last minute to do this week's guest star because she's done so much great guest star stuff. And I've done a lot of these guest star episodes, and I've obviously love all of them. But Lindsay and I got into some deep stuff this week, and some really interesting things. And I want to encourage everybody, if you haven't been like diving into the guest star stuff, I of course interviewed my TV crush, and she's just amazing, and she looks incredible always, and had so much to offer. And then I interviewed Larry Henkin, who's done so many things, Melanie Smith, Monica Lacey,
Jamie Lynn Sigler,
which is because of Kathleen, she's so sweet. But this Lindsay Price one's really, really good. And I feel like for U90210 fans, it's a really good, great, like Kathleen's was, it's a great crossover because we got into some deep stuff about 90210 and some of her life and all that. And I thought we had a great conversation. Like I said, I just really dig talking to her. She's got a lot to offer, just generally speaking. And I think it's a good one. So I really would love you guys to all check that out. You can find Guest Star right here on the Beverly Hills 90210 channel. Or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, before we get into more news, let's do this.
Well. When was the last time you checked out the Beverly Hills 90210 show shop? Because now it's loaded with so much more stuff. Did you ever want to join the gang at CU? Because now you can wear your official CU t-shirt. Or want to get into the fun with America's zip code? Represent with this cool swag. Or maybe you have an invite to the Peach Pit after dark and need the coolest shirt ever. We have loaded the store with so much more. So don't be a squeeze. Head over to Beverly Hills 90210showshop.com for all the latest goods.
Okay, sorry about that, Melanie. I just wanted to I'm not wearing one, so
I'm
sorry
wearing
about
one.
that.
I'm wearing my Royal Academy Roy Randolph shirt and
Looking good.
purple V-neck. Thank you.
Melanie, I had such a crazy. I mean, I don't know if you watched my Instagram stories this morning. I had such a crazy debacle with my iMac
I did not watch your Instagram stories this morning. I've been taking a step back a little from the socials. So
don't you run a social media business?
Well, that's the problem. I do social media for work like constantly. So sometimes it's like overwhelming to deal with my own and my clients. So, it is.
I'm sure your clients don't want to hear this.
Well, no, I focus so much on my clients that I don't do as much personally.
All right, fair enough.
But whatever. It's all about
I'm just
balance.
fucking with you. All right, but anyway,
I didn't see your Instagram story. So what happened with your Mac?
Okay. I upgraded to
new operating system.
Nobody cares. I upgraded it to Monterey. Okay. A message started popping up. I felt like I was in a sci-fi movie. I couldn't get out of it about a keychain. I had no idea what was happening. I contacted the customer service. The first guy sent me to an article from like 2012. It was absolutely outrageous. I was like, this is a Monterey issue. And then he was like, well, we got to escalate the call. I mean, it was so outrageous. He wanted me to talk to someone at 6 a.m. So, of course, I signed out. I got this girl, Chris Ann. This is the point of this. I know she doesn't watch this podcast. I know we're never going to talk to her again. But she totally saved me. Finally, after 4 people, she got me out of it. She figured out, like, it was a very simple, like, thing that I had to click. You know what I mean? Delete the keychains. And wow.
So glad you got that squared away, Pete.
I want to say also last week was Justina's birthday, our friend from the show here, and I did not shout that out. Happy birthday, Justina, a week later. So,
but you did in your Instagram stories. I actually think I did see that Instagram story last week. Yes.
Thank you, Melanie.
And happy birthday, Justina. A little belated.
A little belated.
Yes.
All right, let's see. So sorry about all that bullshit. Okay, and speaking of Instagram.
Speaking of, oh my God, I thought you weren't going to show it. So, okay.
I mean,
context. I mean, Rory, likes to text me sometimes with pictures from your stories about, we're worried about you. Do you have like an eating problem? I don't know. I mean,
are you guys kidding me? You can't talk.
We're just
you can't
around.
talk. You cannot talk to people that way.
We're
Seriously,
just messing around. I have an eating problem. I have.
This is getting very weird. See, this is why you don't send pictures like this, Rory. First of all, I do love eating, and I happen to love White House subs, and I will promote that brand for as long as I live. The
looked good. I mean, the sub looks good.
I don't believe that
you're
was
enjoying it.
I don't believe that was the context of the original message, and it's great that you're now twisting it, but that's fine. I love eating. I love eating on my Instagram. It's never going to change. If you don't like it, you know where you can go. And let me tell you something. Gold Belly got me a sandwich from Atlantic City in a day, 4 sandwiches, because you can't just order 1 sandwich. That would be outrageous. And it was so good and so tasty, and I just wanted the world to know it. But I do love me some Rory Carbs ball busting.
Yes, I do too. I love Rory. He's funny.
Does he have any more fights?
No, you know what, though? We do need to get David Evans on here. That's a person that we've been meaning to catch up with and get on the show. Maybe the 100th episode. Maybe we could have him tell a story. He was on Zip Code. Maybe we should have a zip code, a planet.
America's zip code, you mean?
Yes, yeah. America's zip code. So maybe we should have him rep, from being on America's zip code. Maybe we get one Planet 90210 person and, do that too. I don't know.
Okay.
Throwing it out there.
I love Rory. He's
good sidebar here.
So funny.
Back on topic now, Pete. We've got news to report.
I mean, I could keep talking about this shit. Is there really any interesting news? The thing that's worrying me the most this week is this story about our friend Tori Spelling having COVID.
Yes.
I've talked to her a few times. It's not well. She's not, she's sick. I'm worried about it. So, I mean, I'm not worried about it where I think it's going to be really bad or anything, but I just hate seeing her going through anything difficult. She brings so much light and love and brightness to the world that I hate that she's going through this. I had a little bout with COVID myself in early December.
Yes.
And it was not a fun thing. I mean, I didn't have the heavy symptoms or anything like that, but it still is very tiring. And I thought I was never going to have a throat again. Like it, and there's also like a little bit of an anxiety thing that goes with having it, where because it is could be so deadly or permanent, that you do deal with a lot of concerns about that. And it's not that she just has it. It's like, I think her whole family.
Their whole family. Yeah. It's awful.
So let me just say, I know we say to the group of people to go do things. Please go give Tori your love.
Send love and light.
That's one thing she needs right now is a lot of love and a lot of happiness. Yeah. And send her something if you want to. I don't know. She's just such a sweet person. But I will say there was, even in her sickness, there was one, you didn't pull it, but there was one really adorable photo of Tori being sick. And I don't know where it is, but I was just like, even when she's down and out, she still looks good. So
Might have been the stories.
it was a story, I think.
Oh, this I again adopted a dog this week, and with the Betty White challenge, I on my Melanie Rose SD Instagram have a fundraiser for the rescue we got our dog from, Second Chance Rescue. It's the second dog we've got from this incredible organization. So if you're looking to make a Betty White challenge donation, go visit my Melanie Rose SD Instagram, and $5 every little bit helps for all the animals out there to celebrate the life of Betty White. So, and
speaking of
losses,
Betty White died.
Yes,
I don't even know if we died. I don't know if we talked about that.
I think it was in between. It was maybe happened right before or right after the last news. I forget, but we did not cover it. However, there's another celebrity death that just happened this week that we are going to cover as well. So I think you've got a photo there of the late, great, very funny, amazing TV dad and comedian from one of my favorite shows when I was younger.
Is it this?
Full House. Nope, that's not the one.
Will Smith's okay.
Oh, we're back to the photo game again. Oh my God. Okay. God. So that's not it.
Shit.
It's not
All right. You see what happened?
Nope,
All
also
right.
not it.
Shit.
Kristen McIsaac is going to love this. Okay, yes, here we go. So
it's just that they're not labeled. They're just not labeled, Kristen. If they were labeled, it would be easy.
Well, I used to label them, and then I stopped spending the time because I figured, well, if I'm labeling them and it's still not pulling up, then what's the point? But,
and I fucked it up.
Yes, so I can start labeling again, Pete, if that will help.
I know it's fine. Who gives a shit? I think people like us not being able to figure out the pictures.
Anyway, Bob Saget passed away.
Now you know some of the future news stories.
Yes. So Bob Saget.
Gone. I mean, to me, this reminds me of, we all have actors or people that we genuinely liked. Of course, it always flashes me back to how suddenly devastating Luke Perry's passing was, for all of us. But in a way, like for me, when I was thinking about this, I'm writing a thing, and I was thinking about in 1994, I think John Candy passed away. And I remember I was such a big fan of his movies growing up because he just seemed like such a kind man and a really talented guy. So I kind of connect these things, a funny guy that everybody just seemed to think was an amazing human being. And that makes it all the more difficult, So that's really sad. I was shocked and just devastated that my sister was a huge fan of that television show Full House.
Yes, Full House, same. I mean, and seeing all of his co-stars, John Stamos and Candace Cameron and all of them sharing their sentiments about it, it really hits hard. He was very well loved, and he will be missed. It's sad. So rest in peace, Mr. Saget. We will miss you, Danny Tanner.
Definitely. I have a question for you, Melanie.
Sure.
Do you ever, like, on a random Sunday, think to yourself, like, what the fuck were we talking about on the news this week? Like, do you ever like think, because we just talk about so many things, right?
Well, what's funny is sometimes we'll just I'll be having a conversation or something, and something will come up, and I'll be like, oh, actually, we just covered this on the news, as if I'm some very serious, journalist, news reporter.
For me, it's like I'm like, did I say that? Or it's almost like the news for me is almost like being blackout drunk.
Oh, that's interesting. And it's funny when people start sharing to their stories and stuff, a couple days later, because I'm like, wow, people are watching, and it's cool to me that people even watch this. I mean, we kind of do it.
Maggie will always share like a real fun little snippet. And I'm like, wow.
She's so good. Maggie's so good. I love her. Thank you, Maggie, for all the social stuff.
Maggie's just got she loves it. She loves the content, and she's clearly a 90210 fan. And it's just great to have that.
It is. Absolutely. Now just throw pictures at me. Oh, this was really cute. So Shannon posted on her Instagram this little video, dancing in movies, and it has different clips of people dancing in different movies. And, she needed a little joy. So if you're looking for a little joy in your day, head over to the Shando on Insta. Check out the cute little video. I liked it. Maybe you will too.
I don't see a Kathleen thing. What's up?
There was nothing to pull. I had 0 from her. I did not check this morning. I put this together last night.
You're full of shit. So, first of all,
she had an Expanse picture that I think we covered last week.
Today
Pretty
is
sure
the
we
last
covered it last
episode
week.
of The Expanse. Today's the last. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
dropping today.
thank you for sourcing this story, Pete. I appreciate your contribution to this week's news.
Sourcing it. I'm sourcing it. I'm sourcing
You're
it. I have a
you're
good source.
curating our news. Yeah.
Listen, I've been watching it. She's so good in everything she's doing. And listen, guys, go watch this. This is the last. I think it's the last Expanse ever, too. I might be
Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
She's doing great. Follow my bud there. All right, let's see. I just wish I had a picture here that I can pull of her.
The one time I don't pull a picture, you wish you had the picture.
I wish. Well, Kathleen, I always like to look at pictures of Kathleen.
Right,
you know what I mean? On this news show, it becomes one of my favorite things to do. And there's not a picture. Maybe should I pull a picture?
I mean, feel free to pull pictures anytime you want, Pete. I'm the picture puller, but you feel free. Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so let's talk about this picture. They are rebooting the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which, as we know, was a very popular show back in the 90s. I loved it. And that's going to premiere after the Super Bowl. So,
listen, I'm
another
gonna say
reboot
this.
in the works. Love it.
I'm going to say this. I didn't really watch that show. I did watch the reunion of that show, and I thought, wow, these characters are all really great. I know that nobody's in this, right? Nobody's in the reboot.
I don't think so. Do you know the theme song? I think I know every word of the theme song.
I don't.
Still.
I don't want to sing it.
Okay, I won't sing it then. No problem. I was going to say we could sing it together, but that's okay.
I don't know it. I don't know.
I know it word for word, but that's.
I need the lyrics to bounce up on a screen for me to know it. But what I was going to say is, I know there's this fan page, BH fan page. He's always rooting for a 90210 reboot or something like that. And like, man, he asks me every day, like, and it's fine. You keep asking, it's fine. But like, I don't know if that reboot thing will ever happen again. You know what I mean? Like, I think
not a reboot. Maybe something
I think that ship sailed, I do think there are other things and other potential projects that could come out about 90210 that would be really interesting. And then maybe after that, perhaps we could have a moment like what's going on with this Fresh Prince thing. Yeah. You have to also remember, like, 90210 has done a bunch of like reincarnations, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, there was that 2008 one. So, I mean, like, it's always interesting, 90210. So, I don't know how I got into this. All right, let's see. What is this now?
Oh, here we go. Finally, the Michael Stoyanov picture I was looking for. But anyway,
I saved the best for last.
I think there's actually more pictures. But anyway, Blossom reunion happens on Call Me Kat, which is Maya Bialik's new show, and that was on the premiere. So it was cool to see the cast reuniting again. I always like to see Joey Lawrence. Of course, Michael Stoyanov will be on the show. Jenna Von Oy was on there. And
is that the friend 6?
Yes. Yep. And I guess they played heightened versions of themselves, which sounds familiar, right? We have heard this heightened version thing from a reboot that we're familiar with.
I'm rolling my eyes because like we already did that. So
right. And they were in this episode of Call Me Kat. They were all in town for a celebrity golf tournament. So anyway, catch it. It'll be streaming, I'm sure. But it's always cool to see our 90s shows reuniting. Michael
will come down with us and he'll be talking all about that. So that's
even more exciting. I love that. Very cool.
Nope. No, that's it. There's no more pictures.
There should be a picture of a tweet and a picture of Christina Elise.
I don't have any of those.
And a picture of Eddie Vedder's new single.
Oh wait, Eddie Vedder, I definitely have. Hang on,
okay.
I just didn't post that. I just didn't pull.
I'll talk about the other items. Who needs pictures?
But anyway? I don't have them. So I don't.
You have the Eddie Vedder one.
You just sent that to me via text. I have that.
Okay, great. 90s music reference here, since we're covering 90s things now too. Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam has a new single out today. I'm a big Eddie Vedder fan, so I just wanted to share that. Check it out. Should be good.
I love Pearl Jam.
Big fan of Pearl Jam.
Yes.
I had another picture on there that I guess didn't make it.
I don't know why you're being accusatory.
No. It's weird. Well, it's weird. It must have been maybe they didn't attach to the email. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way,
here's what I do. I download them. Okay, I download them and I just grab the entire folder like this and I upload it all at once. Okay. So if it's not in the folder, it's not there. This sounds so like we're working in a corporate office.
It's okay. I'll just recap quickly. The show Life Goes On, which was on from 1989 to 1993, with Kelly Martin, and Corky was the name of the character. He had Down syndrome syndrome. They're actually rebooting that show as well. It'll be coming to NBC, and Kelly Martin will be reprising her role. So
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah,
another
that's great.
reboot for sure. It was a feel-good show. I loved that show. You know, I remember that theme song word for word as well. But it was good, a good message, like a really good, wholesome show, inclusive. I loved that show.
So much interesting about that. So what's interesting about that is like so many of the guest stars that I talked to from the 90s have all did some sort of little thing on that show. Like David Lasher was in an episode of Life Goes On. And somebody that I'm talking to pretty soon, I don't remember who it was, but someone did a couple of Life Goes On. So it's awesome, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I love the show. I can't wait for it to come back. I've always loved Kelly Martin. She was in these movies, TV movies or show called Christy. I think she was like a mountain teacher or something. I love Kelly Martin, so I will be watching.
The only really person that I loved growing up on television was Claire Arnold.
The only one, huh? You weren't like a Winnie Cooper in your younger years?
No, I did. I definitely liked Winnie Cooper growing up, but once I saw Kathleen or Claire Arnold on 90210, that was it. Like, there was no room for anybody else. Of course, I do love me some Taylor Swift these days, but
of course. I'm kind of annoyed that you got your beanie so fast, because I ordered the All Too Well scarf and the Fuck the Patriarchy keychain for my friend, and it still hasn't shipped yet. And it's like, come on, TS store, get it together. You know, you got your beanie so fast. Good for you. It's
Christelle,
so cool, by the way. It's so nice of Christelle.
It's so awesome. I just love it so much. You know, I mean, I even think the color goes well for me. Like, I think it's a good scheme.
It works with your skin tone.
It does. It does not quite as much as you like the yellow one, I know, but
oh, I did like the yellow one.
But this one is such a good one, and it's just celebrating someone who is just such a talented artist and has made such a difference in humanity. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
No, I think we're good. The only other thing I had was a Christine Elise yearbook picture that she shared from Boston Latin High School, which you can check out on her Instagram feed. But we had some good news stories this week. We didn't talk about what we're watching yet. Actually, I was going to talk about Yellow Jackets again because I pulled a picture of a tweet from Stephen King, who is giving Yellow Jackets props, saying how great of a show it is. Again, it's on Showtime. It features a lot of 90s stuff. It's such a good story, amazing cast. If you don't have Showtime, get the free preview or whatever and check it out. It's so fucking good, Pete. Yellow Jackets.
I'm not really watching anything right now, which is kind of weird. But I do want to start watching Yellowstone, Kevin Costner's thing. I've heard that's really good.
Yes.
So I'm probably going to dive into that. But I know Ozarks is coming back really soon.
21st. Oh my God. Can't wait.
So I might do a total dive into, once it comes out, I might do all 4 seasons again.
Start from the beginning again. Yeah, I see that. I just finished Money Heist on Netflix also. I made it a priority to really binge the crap out of that the last few weeks, and I enjoyed it. It's another subtitles crime heist show. It was good.
All right, Melanie, I think we've covered all things here this week. This is a very long 90 News. So
yes, it was a long 90 News. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a really fantastic weekend. We'll be back next week. And until then, 9021 out.